Hi guys, as requested by a subscriber, I'm going to review the video called "This Was My Wake-Up Call" by Dr. Mike.
Doctors are notoriously bad patients, and I fall into that category headstrong. And recently, I went for my checkup and found out something really bad about my health, and I want to share that with you. Huge thanks to Walmart Plus for sponsoring this video. P-whoop. I've been kind of slacking on my health over the last year and a half. I'd like to blame the pandemic, and that's certainly been a part of it. But a lot of it has also come from the fact that I've been a little bit lazy, and I've been slacking. And that's okay. For me, one of the tests I needed to order, especially knowing how poor my diet has been over the last year, I needed to check my cholesterol. I didn't expect this at all. My cholesterol is through the roof. In fact, it was getting to be at such a high level.
Alright, the thing with cholesterol is that the higher it is, the longer you're going to live. That's generally what's been found out through hundreds of studies. And I will also link videos about this in the description that I made years ago. However, if your cholesterol is really abnormally high, then it may be a sign that your body has a lot of inflammation, for example, seeing as cholesterol is an antioxidant, which most people don't know, probably he also, and then of course it's going to try to heal your body and the inflammation.
That it was almost falling into the category of, you can't get it this high with just the diet. We need to check if you have a familial gene for hypercholesterolemia. If I had a patient my age walk in with that cholesterol, I would have a very serious conversation about genetic testing. My number, my LDL cholesterol, was 185. Getting into the 190s,
What? Wow, this is so crazy. This is really funny because 185 used to be basically normal. What they've done is that they go lower, basically decade by decade. At this point, that is seen as high. These numbers and what is seen as normal, it's all completely man-made, which means that the lower they go, the more cholesterol-lowering drugs they can prescribe to people, because even if they have a normal amount of cholesterol, it will be seen as high. And this is definitely the case. If anything, I would say it should be a bit higher.
Is like potentially have a heart attack at age 40 with no symptoms. Bad.
There's absolutely no relation as far as cholesterol and heart attacks go. Absolutely. And if anything, as I said, cholesterol most definitely heals the arteries and it prevents atherosclerosis.
And I don't want to have a heart attack. I don't want to die. It was a brutal wake-up call for me. The general goal is we want to get the LDL cholesterol below 100. So in going back to see what I was doing,
That's ridiculous. No way. If you look at people who live to 100 plus years, all of them have very high cholesterol, and also LDL compared to HDL, which he's maybe gonna say is the good cholesterol, which is nonsense, is simply the cholesterol that is going one way. And also LDL just stands for low density lipoproteins, which means that it's carrying protein, other chemicals, and of course also fat cholesterol into one direction. For example, when you create vitamin D, then you need a lot of LDL, which is why after sunbathing, your LDL is going to be high. That is healthy.
Realized I developed some really bad habits. And they're bad habits that I want to highlight with you today because it goes to argue the point that weight is not the single determinant of your health status. I was not eating a lot of calories during the day. Therefore, my weight was okay. But my cholesterol markers were terrible because of the type of foods I was consuming. Here's how a typical day went. I would wake up, not eat anything. I'm a big fan of intermittent fasting. Don't have much of an appetite.
Of course.
In the morning. So then I would continue along with my day till lunchtime, where I would have a salad. And then came dinner time. I was still working because I
Okay, you starve yourself the whole day basically.
work really late hours, where it would be like 10, 11, 12 a.m. and I'm done with work, but I'm starving. And I worked out in the morning, so I burned like 800 calories. I need to consume
Yeah, that's really stupid.
some serious calories right now in order to not lose weight and keep some muscle on. So what I ended up doing was binge eating late at night, really low quality foods. An extra cheese pizza with pepperoni on it, I would take it to the face. A cheeseburger, a double cheeseburger, nuggets, or some kind of like crispy shrimp. So for the day, I only consumed like 2,300 calories, burned 800 in the morning. I was good. My body was looking great, like my six-pack started even coming in, but my cholesterol levels were quietly going through the roof because I was consuming a lot of saturated fat, a lot of fried foods, unhealthy foods, a lot of red.
Okay, how is he mixing saturated fat and red meat together with fried foods and unhealthy foods? Those foods are in no way unhealthy. It's our natural diet. And also, saturated fat most definitely does not increase your cholesterol by any means. Again, this will be proven in the videos that I will link in the description.
Giant steak, like it was way too much red meat. Because I need someone to be objective, I reached out to my good friend, Dr. Danielle Bellardo, who's a well-trained cardiologist, knows everything about cholesterol and lowering cholesterol, and I knew she
Yeah, objective. What?
could be of help.
LDL cholesterol is the actual most important cholesterol that we look at with regards to cardiac risk.
Nonsense.
Even though I think you may have possibly some genetic components of high cholesterol, I do think that there's a lot you can do to reduce your LDL with diet significantly.
Dr. Bellardo gave me 3 tips on how to lower my LDL cholesterol from least to most important that I follow. Third is to decrease dietary cholesterol.
Reducing the amount of any sort of kind of processed foods, junk foods, refined carbohydrates.
Okay, he wants to reduce the cholesterol in his diet, as in he wants to eat less animal foods because only animal foods have cholesterol, which of course makes sense because that's what our cells are also made out of. But then she says to reduce processed food, junk food, and so on, which has nothing to do with it.
That can make a huge difference.
Second is to
Also, the cholesterol in your diet is not going to impact the cholesterol in your blood. For the most part, there could be a little bit of an impact if you really need cholesterol, and if it's really low, then of course it's going to help. But for the most part, the body produces it by itself.
bump up my fiber intake to about 60 grams of fiber per day. Not an easy task.
Fiber only exists in plants, and so by eating more plant-based foods, whether it be fruits, vegetables, whole grains, legumes, this can help reduce your cholesterol as well, and your LDL specifically.
And
I've seen studies about this. There is no actual explanation as to how fiber should help you to reduce your cholesterol. The only real logical explanation here is that you eat so much fiber, which is completely indigestible for a human being, that it doesn't let you absorb any of the other nutrients. So it causes a blockade in the intestines. Even if you would be getting some cholesterol from your diet also, then you would not, because it would be full of fiber.
First and most important is to decrease my saturated fat consumption.
Saturated fat we can see in both animal products and plant products. For example, coconut oil is really high in saturated fat.
It's very different kinds of saturated fat though. There is no such thing as one saturated fat.
And raise your LDL. So dropping saturated fat by cutting back on red meat, butter, bacon.
For example, the saturated fat in butter and steak, any kind of meat, actually has fat-soluble vitamins such as vitamins A, D, K2. Coconut oil has none of that. Coconut oil is basically devoid of micronutrients.
Bacon, cheese, or high-fat dairy, that can make a huge difference too.
Knowing my cholesterol was so high, I knew I needed to start eating healthier. But eating healthy isn't always so simple. But it has become easier.
But doctors see as a healthy diet is just the biggest joke on earth.
Because of my Walmart Plus membership. You see, a membership gives you free same-day delivery of fresh groceries from your local store. They've got high-quality
Just another stupid advertisement.
ingredients for your everyday cooking, like organic fruits or vegetables, or boneless, skinless chicken breasts. With a Walmart Plus membership, prices are the same as they are on the shelf, so there are no markups, which means you get the same fresh, high-quality food you've come to expect from Walmart at reasonable prices. And because of these low prices, the Walmart Plus membership is perfect.
Man, really, this guy does anything for money. Who the hell promotes Walmart as fresh and healthy food?
And once you place an order, specially trained shoppers hand-pick the freshest items, just like they're shopping for their own families.
The freshest items, the fresh bread.
I was primarily now getting my protein sources from fish as the #1 source, plants like beans, and then chicken.
It's funny that a lot of these doctors also eat fish because they want to reduce their cholesterol, even though, if they go by that logic, fish has more cholesterol than beef, for example. It really makes no sense.
Those are like my 3 primary sources of protein. When it comes to the second point of increasing fiber, that was probably the hardest. Not only was my GI system kind of a mess, like I was bloated, having some flatulence issues, once my body had...
That's normal because it's a very unnatural diet. Humans cannot digest fiber. As I said before, there's a lot of anti-nutrients and toxins that are going to disrupt your gut.
Adjusted to the huge jump in fiber content, I started feeling a lot better and I became more regular and all of that improved. But how did I get there? First, I started having to take a fiber supplement. The reality though is even when you take a fiber supplement twice a day, you're only increasing your fiber intake by like 5 or 6 grams. So I still had to find
You're a fucking moron. A fiber supplement is simply a waste product, quite literally. It's something that they can't sell, so they sell it to morons.
other ways to get my fiber in. The best way that I found to get my fiber in was through black beans. And I like black beans. I think they taste great, they have some protein, and the fiber content is amazing.
That's nonsense. Nobody likes black beans. For sure not in their natural raw state, because they would kill you. That's how toxic they are. Even if you cook them and destroy most of the toxins, you're still going to be getting some of the anti-nutrients such as phytic acid, which doesn't let you absorb minerals, and lectins, which can cause leaky gut in the long run. A really horrible suggestion. Nobody should be eating any kind of beans ever.
There's ways you can pick bean foods that aren't actually beans. There's ways to make your pasta to be legume-based. You drastically increase the amount of fiber you're consuming. I also found some fiber to go bars, protein bar that had some fiber in them that was also...
What? Fiber to go bars? I didn't even know that that exists. Jesus.
Plant-based. I got some freeze-dried blueberries and raspberries, which have a great amount of fiber in them. Oh,
Man, this video is so ridiculous.
over the next month, because it's been about a month now following this, I will say certain changes became visible quickly. First, I actually lost 10 to like 12 pounds. I wasn't intending to lose the weight, but I was, and I was starting to look and feel better. I feel more energized when I wake up in the mornings.
How is that in any way a good sign? If you would keep up the diet, that would mean that you would eventually die, because you would not be gaining, but you would be losing weight. Losing weight means losing cells, losing your body, dying, essentially. It basically means that the diet that you were eating is not healthy because you could not keep it up long term.
My stomach isn't as bloated. I don't feel as full, like nasty full throughout the day. But it's also made a big difference in how I perform in everyday tasks in life. But the benefit that I'm doing for my health by eating this way is huge. The raspberries and blueberries I'm eating don't just have fiber, they have vitamins and minerals in them.
What vitamins and minerals do berries have? They have vitamin C. What else? Name one more.
Beans that I'm consuming are good for my heart. There's so much other added value in eating this way that goes just past the cholesterol point. Like, it really woke me up to the mistakes that I was making in my dietary habits. And this goes to show two things. One, that just because you're a doctor or you're an expert in something doesn't mean you're always making the right choices for yourselves. Doctors are probably the biggest hypocrites. And second, that despite being at a healthy weight and having nearly a six-pack, I was unhealthy. Our health goes past...
A six-pack is not a sign of health, if that's what you were implying.
Our weight. All right, it's been a couple of days. I got my test results back. I needed to see that my total cholesterol would go down. And by changing my lifestyle, I know that if my total cholesterol goes down, it's because the LDL went down, which is the bad cholesterol. And it worked. My total cholesterol number totally went down. And it went down significantly in just 5 short weeks. Initially, my total cholesterol, 265. Now, 217. If I check this 3 months later, it'd probably be even...
Congrats. You're gonna die earlier.
Below 200, which is ideally where we want it to be. So now I have to keep my cholesterol low and healthy by continuing this lifestyle. That doesn't mean I won't occasionally indulge in some pizza or burgers or like chicken nuggets or something, but I've learned to love fiber-rich foods. I've learned to incorporate more plant-based foods in my diet, and frankly, I feel like my palate has evolved.
You eat plant-based and a lot of junk food. What do you eat that is in any way healthy?
Huge thanks to Walmart Plus for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to click that link in the description and start your free trial now. As always, stay happy and healthy.
Alright, this guy is an absolute tool, a big pharma tool. Doctors are put under incredibly much stress when they go through their studies and training, when they get brainwashed to do what the government wants them to do, which is to make humans sick and make them die quicker. And of course, he also falls for this trap. Then when they are finished, many years later, they are so traumatized by somebody always looking over them, telling them what to do, being so stressed because they have to just read all of the time and memorize like a freaking sheep slave. Once they are finally done, they feel so powerless, but once they are given this power from the government, they can now order around other people, and they can come to them and ask for advice, and now they are all knowing, and they can now be the master and be in control of other people's lives. and they can get their strength back and everything. This is kind of their mentality. But I know a doctor who actually had to take anti-anxiety medication before every appointment. And of course, she didn't tell this to her patients because it was actually very hard for her to always have people asking her questions as if she's all-knowing, even though she realized, of course, that she does not have the answers to everything. But that's what a lot of us believe when we go to doctors. But actually, really, they don't even think for themselves. They simply tell you what they have learned. And for the most part, they simply prescribe medication because this is who pays for their holidays and so on. This is how it was for her also, which is why she kept continuing. She got a nice trip to China here and there simply because she gave them the medication that this specific company told her to. That's about it. It's not as if they are there to heal you. They are just there to cover up your symptoms. This guy's in a way even worse because on top of the medication, he also gives you terrible diet advice. Just horrible. Thanks for watching.